It's St. Patrick's Day, and we're drinking Guinness. Hey guys, John here with Drunken Pepper, back with another beer review. I'm sitting outside today because it's finally almost kind of spring here in North Carolina, and so I'd change it up a bit because St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. I'm going to be reviewing the Guinness Drought Stout, which is, I mean, if you haven't heard of Guinness, then where have you been, right? They first brewed this in 1759, so that makes it older than America by a few decades. It's what got me into better beer way back in the day. Before I had only drinking Budweiser, things like that, and I tried Guinness, and I really dig the stouts, and that was my first stout, and I really liked it a lot, and that got me thinking about what else was out there. So it was kind of my gateway beer, if you will, to craft beer. Even though Guinness really, by any definition of the word, is not a craft beer, it got me into craft beer. It's a classic. It's got history. You can say what you will about big beer and that kind of thing. It is a big player in the game. It's owned by one of those multinational corporations that they also do Smirnoff and Hennessy, and yeah, they're big to do. But having said that, I think there's some value in the history of it. And for being a gateway, at least in my case, I'm sure some other people's cases. In 1959, they introduced nitrogen into the process, which nitrogen gives it a more creamy texture because it uses it produces a lot of smaller bubbles as compared to CO2. So you don't have that sharp bite from the CO2 like you do with a lot of other beers. It's a lot more creamy, and you've seen some other breweries, especially Left Hand, introduce nitro to their beer, and again, it just gives it that creamier mouthfeel. The science behind how that works is it's a little bit beyond my grasp, to be honest, but it does involve the widget that's inside the Guinness can. It's this little plastic ball, and through different pressures, it helps that nitrogen helps that whole beer when it's being put into the glass just to give it that really rich, creamy texture. So, anyways, enough chit chat. I came here to drink. So, Guinness Drought Stout. I'm going to go ahead and crack it open. Oh, I don't even know if you could hear that, but you could. Oh, it's already foaming up. It's that nitrogen, and it's that widget getting to work. I saw a video on the proper way to pour a Guinness Stout. I have no idea if this is the proper way to pour a Guinness Stout, but I thought I'd give it a shot. So you, in the video, it says you put the can upside down into the glass and let it go. So we're going to give that a shot and see how it goes. Oh, that's funny. Okay, and about here is where they say to just whoop. Oh, that's working magically. That's fantastic. Oh yeah. You got that. You can hear the widget in there. It's just that little plastic ball. But man, that worked out great. You got that nice cascading it's like the bubbles inside are doing the exact opposite of what you'd think they do. A lot of time with the CO2, the bubbles are going up, but here it's just cascading down. It's so beautiful. You got that nice, almost 2 fingers of really just creamy head at the top. And again, the bubbles are so tiny. To me, it's a pleasant experience. It's a dark beer. It's just on the edges. It's got like a cola, that reddish brown tint to it, but it's dark, and you can't see through it. I'm holding it up to the sun, and you can just barely detect like a ruby red through it. Yeah. So, go in for a nose. Yeah, you get a roasted malt smell to it. There's not a whole lot else besides that roasted malt. That's mainly it. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see what it tastes like. Cheers. Yeah, it's got that really that creamy mouthfeel to it. Nice, a nice roasted malt, kind of toast taste to it. It's so I know other stouts have sometimes they'll have a chocolate component to it. I'm not really getting a lot of chocolate off of this, but mainly just like a roasted, just maybe a little bit of coffee, mainly roasted malt. That's the main character here. Not a whole lot of bitterness. There is a tiny bit of bitterness, but it's not much. Yeah, it finishes off kind of dry, not super dry, but yeah, it's mainly a roasted malt with a little bit of coffee, a little bit of bitterness, not a whole lot of other hop components to it, just the bitterness, but it's a very mild bitterness. It's not big on flavor. Yeah, it's Guinness. It's one of those mass-produced beers. They're not going to try to reinvent the wheel necessarily, at least not with this. From what I've heard, they've changed it over the years, so it's not necessarily the same Guinness that they had in, definitely not in 1759, but not in the 1900s. Some people say that they remember drinking it in their college days back in the 70s or 60s or whatever, and it's completely different. But my only experience has been with the more recent incarnations of it, and yeah, it's good. If it's one of my beers that if there's nothing else on the menu, like if you're at an Applebee's, they're not going to have like a left hand nitro milk stout. They are going to have your regular run-of-the-mill big name beers. So, I'll get a Guinness in that situation. Otherwise, if you've never had one, get one to try it out. You never know. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's not the best beer ever. It's not a fantastic beer. It's a decent beer. It's drinkable. It's not going to blow you out of the water with bitterness or flavor even. But it's a decent beer. If you don't have something else available for some reason, go try it if you've never tried it, just so you can say you tried it, but don't go out of your way to find it. Not that you really have to; it's everywhere. Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, it's decent. I'll drink it if nothing else is available, that kind of thing, and I'll be okay with it. So. What are your thoughts on Guinness? Are you just not a fan because it's big beer? Do you dig it? Is it your go-to? Is it what got you into craft beer like it did for me? Let me know down in the comments. Hit us up on Untappd, Facebook, Twitter. We're on Instagram now, so you can check us out over there. Have a safe and happy St. Patrick's Day. And until next time, take care.